Hey, what's up and welcome back everyone to another Warzone video. So I spent the entire day grinding to create 10 perfect loadouts for you to use inside of Warzone. How did I do it? I went onto the sim.gg website, which statistically data mines all of the information after the update. So all the new buffs, nerfs, and hidden changes, they pull that information. I then created 20 statistically perfect weapons for you to be using inside of Caldera, Rebirth Island, and especially Fortune's Keep. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to make sure that these were actually practical inside the game, not just the numbers. So I brought them into Warzone, made minor adjustments, and have perfect classes for you to be using. If you guys appreciate all the effort that I put into this video, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe, because both of those help out so much with the algorithm, and make sure to join me live over on Twitch to watch me test out these guns live. But before we get into it, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Scuff. You guys already know I've been rocking the new Scuff Reflex FPS, which is their brand new PlayStation 5 controller. But if you've seen any clips, you know the movement meta is here. Now more than ever, you need these paddles on the back of the controller and the rapid fire digital triggers to hang with people as they're flying around the map. We used to be able to just go from crouch and jump and then get back to our stick. Or then we would, revert to playing the claw, trying to touch those buttons. But dude, the movement speed's insane. People are flying across the map more than ever before, and the Scuff paddles on the back, which can be remapped to any face button, are now your key to success. There's a reason I use it. There's a reason all the other Warzone pros use it. And most importantly, there's a reason all the multiplayer pros are using a Scuff. You can use yours, design your very own, and make sure to use code Isaac to get 5% off of your order and elevate your game today. That'll be linked down in the pinned comment and the description. But without further ado, let's get into the top 10 loadouts for today. So the very first one we're going to be taking a look at is the UGM. I had a clip go viral on Twitter with this gun. It is an absolute laser beam. It's going to be a problem. We have a 125 round mag, but we've built it out to be zero recoil. There's some other ARs that we're going to build to be a little bit more aggressive, but for this one specifically, it's a laser beam. We go with the MX silencer, which does hurt our aim down sight, but it helps out even more with recoil control, so we're going to go with that. 7.36mm barrel for the most accuracy and damage range. The 3-6 scope is pretty self-explanatory. Most people love it. We're also rocking the Mercier, I'm not really sure. We're rocking this stock because it turns it into an absolute laser. Tight grip is standard. On hand actually helps out with aim down sight a little bit. Now, typically, the meta has turned into taped grip, and you technically can run a taped grip build of this, but hatched now helps out with vertical and horizontal, and horizontal is kind of a problem on this gun. It moves a little bit, not only horizontal shake, but it also moves a little bit to the left. Not with this. Technically, you could rock the grooved, which helps out horizontal even more, but the problem with grooved is it hurts your aim down sight speed, and I don't want an LMG to turn too sluggish. It's the exact same reason why when we go over here to the strafe angled, this helps out a lot more with the horizontal, so that's why we rock that. We could rock the hand stop, but if we're going for true low recoil, I go for the strife, which is going to hurt your aim down sight a little bit, but it's worth it compared to the grooved grip. From there, everything else is standard. We rock lengthened, and then this gun is a beam. Pairing it up with this one's just fun. Okay, you've seen my recent video on it. It truly is a meta weapon to be using. We are rocking a Kimbo of the new SMG. Everything here is built for hipfire accuracy, and I promise you, you may have seen some people buy the blueprint and think it was it. It's not. You need to rock this build. It turns into a crazy tight recoil control, hipfire accuracy beamer. This is the gun to try if you're ever wanting to try a hipfire build. It's an absolute blast on Fortune's Keep. Now, moving into the next class, the NZ is meta more than ever before, except we are now ditching the burst barrel and we're rocking the 360mm because it has bullet velocity, a significant increase in bullet velocity. And on top of that, we don't have to switch over to burst fire every time we touch the gun, which has always been a huge pain in the butt. Outside of that, everything else is pretty standard, except for we are now rocking tape grip. This gun is so easy to use, man. It legitimately has near zero recoil. So if I can throw tape grip on there and move across the map faster, B-hop challenge a little bit quicker, finesse and move around with an AR in my hand, it's worth it. Now, if you want a true zero recoil, you could throw on something like the hatched grip or even the polymer grip, which helps out during sustained fire. But at the end of the day, you do not need it for this gun, especially if you throw on something like brace, which I use in because I really don't need acrobatic. Acrobatic helps out by like 0.2 meters per second, but the taped grip helps out by like 1.2 meters per second. Like, this thing is going to get nerfed, unfortunately, because it helps out so much more than anything else in the game. This is the meta loadout right now for me with the NZ. Pairing it up, I spent a lot of time on the Blixen. The Blixen is a very, very, like, top tier meta gun. And I've got two ways that you can build it. This is the max speed build for someone that's a little bit, better with the recoil control. So we have recoil booster, which helps out with the fire rate. We have the 17-inch barrel. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, well, hey, why don't we rock the 9-inch barrel? Like, it helps out so much more with the new damage range. When we go over to the sim.gg site, I promise you, it's not worth it. So we come over here, we go ahead and select the new Blixen, and then what we do is we look at the difference, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and select the Bergstrom 17-inch, and then we're gonna compare it. Okay, let's look at the other 17-inch. Okay, the other 17-inch has terrible recoil numbers. It shakes like you wouldn't believe. It's not worth it. Yes, technically you can move faster around the map, but it's not worth it. You're shaking like a leaf when you're shooting this gun. Okay, so the bottom 17-inch is the one to use. Well, let's compare it now to the 9-inch. When we switch over to the 9-inch, yes, we will move faster by 0.2 meters per second, which is pretty significant. We will move faster. However, you are shaking like a leaf with this one. It is not worth it. I promise you, boys. I ran in. I spent about an hour on this gun alone inside of Plunder. So let's talk about the differences. So as you can see here, we have the Bergstrom with the 17-inch, and then we're comparing it to the Bergstrom with the 9-inch. Now, the 9-inch does give you more damage range, as you can see down here at the bottom. But when you actually try to practically use this gun, I promise you, it has about double the recoil. But at the end of the day, this is only about a 6-meter gap. It's from 18 meters to 12 meters, where that smaller barrel, the 9-inch barrel, actually makes a meaningful difference. And in some of these, it hardly even makes a difference at all when you're starting to shoot to the extremities. And in fact, when you're shooting to the head, the longer barrel is better. Boys, trust me on this. I know it seems like the movement speed might be worth it, or the damage profile change might be worth it. It's not. This, with the 17-inch barrel, is more worth using, especially when you consider the fact that a taped grip helps out our movement speed by nearly 1.0 meters per second, and we're worried about what? Switching to this and helping out by 0.2 meters per second? This is the loadout you need to be using. So, like I said, I spent a lot of time running all these numbers, testing them out on top of it to make sure these recoil patterns were actually sustainable for you to use, and this is the max speed pro loadout that I recommend. 17-inch F3, remove stock, fleet quick, taped grip, hollow point to help out with that, a little bit of forgiveness shooting close range, and then the Mark 6 skeletal combined with the 7.62 54 mag. This movement speed, movement speed, movement speed, movement speed all helps out so much to help you fly across the map. But with this 17-inch barrel, it's still not quite a beam, but very practical for advanced players. So let's head over to the next loadout and look for a Blixen that's a little bit more practical for someone that maybe can't control recoil as well. This is kind of the zero recoil. We still use a 17-inch. We still have the insane time to kill. We're shooting for lengthened, which makes it feel a little bit more responsive, right? Because we have that faster bullet velocity. But then we're trading out. We still keep the tape grip because it's just too dang good to not use. But then we're using hand stop instead of the Mark 6 skeletal. And then we're using the skeletal stock instead of the remove stock. I combined all these together. We still use fleet and quick. You use these inside of it and you are a mid-range beam with this gun. It is a very nice balance between movement speed and accuracy. This is probably my favorite SMG build in the game right now. From there, we go over the STG. This one's all standard except for, instead of last season rocking the polymer, we're going to rock the taped grip. When we're using hand stop, when we're using the weighted, this gun is still a beam. Throw on the fact that we can now use tape grip, which helps out with the fact that we can move across this map like we're using an SMG. You are challenging like never before. This is the meta STG build, in my opinion. Outside of that, everything else is standard. By the way, make sure you guys are taking screenshots of all of these so you can save them to use them in future days, but I will be creating specified videos on each one of these. I may make 1 or 2 minor changes as I'm going through and I'm trying to drop 30 bombs, 40 bombs, really, finagle these loadouts. But as of right now, I've spent a lot of time and I'm feeling very confident about sharing them all with you. But if you want to see them used in action, make sure to subscribe for even more. So moving on from here, we actually had a buff come to the Volk. The Volk has now even less visual recoil than ever before, making it one of the most viable options for both a sniper support, and I got more on snipers later because I'm going to surprise you with something. But on top of that, it also is a great gun for something like Fortune's Keep, where we're not doing a lot of long-range engagements, but we need something that can reach out to mid-range a little bit better than our SMG. So we have the recoil booster for our faster time to kill. We're rocking the Krosnik barrel, which helps out with more accuracy. By the way, boys, the strafe speed meta is gone. Okay, strafe speed was nerfed heavily in the Season 4 update. I tried using the True Game Data strafe speed build inside of Warzone. It's gone. Strafe speed builds are gone. But we're going to go ahead and rock the 2.5. The reason we rock the 2.5 is because of that sight that it has on top. We can lift ourselves above the 64 round... I have a nickname for this magazine that I can't say on YouTube, and it really helps kind of clear up our field of view. That's what I rock there. On top of that, we have the Asdorf stock, which helps out with the initial fire and recoil. Perfectionist helps out with recoil. On hand with a faster aim down sight. Taped, because this is a mid-range run and gun. We want to be moving fast. 60 rounds, lengthened, and then the skeletal as well. If you want, because you are using a recoil booster, you can either switch this to subsonic, but that would... it no longer hurts your damage range, actually, so it would be worthwhile using. Or, and I wouldn't suggest this, you could rock a Mercury or an MX silencer, which would keep you silent off the map. But considering subsonic no longer takes off your damage range, I would probably opt for subsonic and take the advantage of the recoil booster time to kill. Moving from there, this one's getting patched. It is not akimbo, but Z-Laner made a build on this, and it's unbelievable how ridiculous it is. So what it has is gung ho. So we can sprint with the absurd speed of taped grip, with the absurd speed provided by the folding stock, and then we can sprint and fire the entire time, combined with quick as well. You are zooming across the map. Now, I went ahead and added more hip fire to it, right? So I added the M1915 steady grip. You could, if you want to move even faster, rock the skeletal grip, which would make you insanely fast. But I want to take advantage of the gung-ho and the hip fire, so I go ahead and rock that. The 48 round helps out as well. I'm sorry, this 48 round, the 8mm 64 round, helps out with hip fire as well. This gun is a blast to use, but it's going to get nerfed because you are literally zooming across the map with this thing. We got the slate reflector in case you need to hit people close up, and then the hollow point helps out with some of the spray of the hip fire, but you are zooming faster than any gun I've ever seen. It's going to get nerfed. All right, moving forward. This is a kind of a reward for all our Cold War players. The Vargo got buffed in multiple ways. First off, they went ahead and they increased the muzzle velocity by 4%. So now it has a better bullet velocity than before. And they made it to where you can aim down sight about 70 milliseconds faster. So now it's even better than what used to be like the XM4. So the Vargo right now seems to be the meta Cold War alternative. I know a lot of you guys don't have it leveled up. I am a COD partner now, so I hate pointing it out. If you were to buy this in the store, you get the meta build. You get Gru Suppressor, Task Force, Spetsnaz, 60 round, Axial Arms 3 times. It's literally the meta build out of the store. Yes, you can use code Isaac. I don't care if you buy it, but it is the meta for now. This is one of my favorite guns to use. It is the fastest weapon in Warzone history. You've got the Parastock, Acrobatic Quick, Taped Grip, and Skeletal on the Sten. And the fact that you have the 7.62 36 round mag means you have some of the fastest time to kill in the game. You are flying across the map. I made a build on this the other day, made a YouTube video on it. Fastest gun in Warzone history. Not the most practical, but if you want to have some fun, break some ankles, zoom across the map, this is the way to go. Moving forward from there, the bar is back. I know they said that they increased the visual recoil by like 4%, 5% here or there. How much is that when it had zero recoil to begin with? Like, look at the way I build this. Recoil booster helps out. The XL barrel helps out with the recoil booster helps out with time to kill. XL barrel helps out with damage range. Standard 3 to 6 scope. I go ahead and rock the WR stock. But the reason I rock the WR stock, in the past I've told you to rock a no stock because it has no recoil. But what we do is rock the chariot stock, and we rock the hand stop. Both of those help out a lot with recoil, which allows us on an AR, just like we did with the NZ and the STG, we're rocking tape grip on this. I brought this into game. It's a beam, boys. You have a crazy powerful bar, and you're moving around like a demon with the tape grip. This is my go-to from here. Now, keep in mind, if you're watching this 2 weeks from now and they nerf tape grip, all I would change with a lot of these is I would go to something like, okay, I'm going to go to remove stock, and then I'm going to go to polymer. Because now the remove stock can help me out with aim down sight, and then the polymer now kind of is worth using because taped is nerfed. But in the meantime, enjoy it while it lasts. From there, the Armaguerra. This is one of the best hybrid SMGs in the game. In terms of kind of a do-it-all, stable at long range, very viable at close range, this is the way to go. You can rock some of the smaller barrels, but frankly, they're a little bit tough to use. The precision barrel is the way to go. Recoil booster, slate reflector, the skeletal helps out with some of that aim down sight and movement speed. Hand stop, lengthened. Of course, we need to rock the tape grip. Hard scope helps out once again with making it feel a little bit more of a beam. If you're comfortable with that, you can push on to something else like sleight of hand or discard, but I like hard scope on top of it. The Armaguerra is definitely one of the metas. You've been using it in the ground loot all last season. It's a very, very solid gun to use, and definitely probably in my top 3, top 4, along with the Blixen, the Marco, and maybe the Sten. All right, moving on from there. The Farah. This is probably the only gun that I would recommend using. The QBZ is all right, but like if you're looking for a Cold War weapon, this is the gun to go to, assuming you don't want to buy or unlock the Vargo. All Modern Warfare weapons, sorry boys, they legitimately don't care about us. They're trying to push everything towards the most recent title to get those sales up. It's just a business model for them. You got to embrace it, you got to accept it, but there are a few that are allowing us to hang on to the glory days. It is the Farah. Standard build, Spetsnaz Grew Suppressor, Spetsnaz Grip, 45 round or the 60 round, axial arms three times. Pretty standard. You can rock the same thing with the QBZ. We rock the same thing with the Vargo, but they're not going to be as good as the Vanguard weapons. But if you're holding on, they can definitely still hang in there. There are a few buffs actually to the MAC-10 as well. They buffed the headshot multiplier and they also buffed the damage range. So if you want to, you can rock this. The classic Gallantry blueprint, which has the really, really clean, thin iron sight. And then we go for max movement speed. Tiger Team, Bruiser, 53 round Task Force, and Agency Suppressor. Pretty straightforward build from there. Now, these ones are really fun for me. I promise you, I would not be suggesting a sniper loadout unless it was meta. This is beautiful, okay? It has some of the fastest aim down sight that we've had. Now we can rock it with the tape grip to fly across the map, and this can one-shot headshot from any distance. And if you use the 3.5 times scope, you don't get a glint. So you can sneak up on people, headshot them, and with the 20 round mag, you're still aiming down sight incredibly quick. I'm going to have an entire video dedicated to this, comparing it to the Vanguard Kar 98, and more importantly, the Modern Warfare Kar 98, and show that sniper meta is not dead if you're using the right builds. We've built it here for max aim down sight and max movement speed, and you're going to have a lot of fun rocking this build right here. It looks big, it looks clunky. I promise you, it's not. From here, we have the amp. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the amp unlocked, but I have ran the numbers, and it is right now kind of one of your best bets for a pistol. If I was to have it, it would be Agency Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Tiger Team Spotlight for the movement speed, the 30 round Stenag just for more, it's the full auto pistol, and then the Serpent Rat for a little bit faster aim down sight. Now, moving on from there, there was another buff to snipers that you guys may not realize. Now, this sniper can actually reach out pretty far. I believe it's like 50 or 60 meters. And when you think of like the Modern Warfare Kar 98, it's like a 27 meter headshot. And then after that, it's no longer one-shot headshot. This could reach out to like 50 plus meters for a headshot. So it's still viable. On top of that, they just buffed these snipers in the most recent update that allow them to have 0 flinch, similar to the Swiss, similar to the Kar 98. So those really frustrating gunfights that you would get into, you're beaming a sniper and you would think their aim would be going all over the place and they blow your head off. They now gave that ability to this Vanguard Kar 98. So this is a build we went for here, all aim down sight, all speed. They do not have the skeletal grip on this one, so we're going to rock the Smile pistol grip, and then we're going to rock the taped grip to zoom around the map, short stock, and then fleet. And I do recommend deep breath. Only reason I recommend deep breath is because with this no stock, the gun sways a little bit, but this is also kind of a quick scoping build. So ideally, you're not aiming down sight too long, but holding the breath allows you to get some of those longer lines of sight, or longer range shots lined up. From there, linked into standard, we want the fast bullet velocity, and then we want the scout suppressor because we don't really care about recoil control that we get from the other suppressor. Moving on from there. No one uses these, and I'm glad they don't, but this has one of the fastest time to kills in the game, bar none. If you take a Kimbo, combine it with the full auto, and then throw in the 45 ACP 24 round mags, and you camp, or you're inside of a building, dual fire, mag dump these things, it's ridiculous. We build it with the faster movement speed of the taped grip because I like to fly around the map, but you can rock the pine tar as well, which will help out that hip fire spread. But at the end of the day, this is just kind of a nice thing that I have in my back pocket if I'm grabbing a ghosted or a tempered loadout. If someone's tailing me and, you know, I feel like I'm in a bad situation, I'm just going to plan on barrel stuffing them inside of the door. This is not a mid-range alternative like the amp could possibly be. Now, moving forward into number 10. And this one's going to piss a lot of people off. So, before that, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more. Shout out to the Noti Gang. And check me out live on Twitch. And also make sure you use code Isaac on all things COD Store, Scuff Store, G Fuel. But one of the most unfortunate things that they changed in the most recent update is they buffed RPGs by a lot. 275 damage splash. Keep in mind, if it hits you directly, you're dead no matter what, period. 300 damage plus. But now they made it to where it does 275 damage if it blows up near you for all launchers. But I combine that with the Modern Warfare RPG, throw amped on it. If I were to run through duos and I snapshot a building right here with restock and I see people inside of there, it would literally take 2 RPGs to wipe an entire team. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. It was a great update otherwise, but throwing around something toxic like the riot shield and then spamming the RPGs, this one's going to be gross. Now, perks that I plan on running for pretty much all of these is Serpentine. It seems like they buffed Serpentine at some point because I'm seeing Serpentine hit markers like crazy. It's supposed to only reduce it by 20%, but I think they buffed it more than that. On top of that, I'm rocking Battle Hardened because the snapshot meta is here and they made them even more effective against stuns and flashes. Hopefully this will, you know, reduce some of the Combat Scout isms. Yes, you could rock Cold-Blooded instead of Combat Scout, but the way that I see it is Combat Scout's only useful at long range when people are shooting me through bushes. Serpentine is useful all the time, so that's why I rock that. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is 10 loadouts. There's so much information condensed into this video that I really want to get into the weeds, show you all the numbers from the sim site, but I don't have time. Otherwise, this would be an hour-long video. Make sure to subscribe. I will show you these updated builds as they continue to grow and get them truly refined, but I'm thrilled to share each and every one of these 20 weapons with you. If you took some screenshots, if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, like the video, and check me out live on Twitch. But without further ado, I will see you all in the next one. Peace.